I refuse to not be first.
Do we do enough? Well, I never shut up about it.
It must have been about 16, 17. We nicked their guilt rings. Right, the bouncer's guilt ring.
This is no good for me. That's the reality. If you want the honest truth, and I see it every day.
Focus do you see Tank? Because you've known him since he made his pro debut, but how do you assess Tank's focus heading into the showdown?
Well, again, this is the biggest fight of his career. Ryan Garcia is a terrific opponent, and he's going to bring out the best in Tank. This is the best camp that he's had thus far, and his focus has just been right on point. From the very start of camp to, actually coming to the fight, we kind of tapering things off. He's ready to go for Saturday night.
What is it like for Tank? Does it resonate with him? Does it matter to him that he's the main event on Saturday, headlining in Vegas? Every major prize fighter wants to headline here in Vegas, but when he sees his picture all over the strip, does it mean something to him?
Of course it does. This is a dream come true for him to headline in a main event, a mega fight in Las Vegas. It gets no bigger than that. I mean, we've seen all the big fights here in Las Vegas, and again, this Saturday night, huge.
Absolutely. Leonard, when it comes to the anticipation from all over the world, this gives me very similar vibes of years ago because I feel like the fans have been starving for a matchup between two guys in their 20s with big knockout power.
Well, this is what it's all about. You have two young, undefeated guys in their prime, and that's important, in their prime. The fans have been clamoring for these two to get in the ring, and this Saturday night, the fans are going to get exactly what they want.
You always say that the best fights are made behind closed doors, and this fight it did, marinate, and, the contracts were signed behind closed doors, but it's been talked about for over 2 years. When Ryan was telling Tank, hey, I'm going to knock you out in 2 rounds on Mike Tyson's podcast, is it surreal to think now, Leonard, that over 2 years of back and forth of talk, that we're 4 days away and Saturday night is literally right around the corner?
Yeah, I mean, it is surreal. I can recall like 2 years ago when Floyd was fighting Logan Paul in Miami, and I had this conversation with him, and I told him that we're going to make this fight, and it's going to come down to you signing on that dotted line, and you're going to have to do what you got to do to make it happen, and it's going to become a reality sooner than you think. And here we are 2 years later in the biggest fight in all of boxing.
In your estimation, do you feel like both Tank and Ryan are going to push each other to the limit that we get to see? You have told me we have not seen the best of Tank. I don't believe we've seen the best of Ryan Garcia. Do you think that we'll see the best out of both on Saturday?
Of course, because that's what happens when you have two young elite fighters and they're in their prime. Both of them are going to bring out the best in each other. And I think that the fans are going to be they're going to be the winners because from the opening bell, I think that we're going to see these guys get at it.
Leonard, you have been and had your finger on the pulse of big prize fights for many, many years, having doing media tours with Floyd and obviously the legendary Kelly Swanson as well. But with these guys, it's a new era because of the social media aspect. Tank has millions of followers on social media. Ryan's got millions of followers on social media. What is that, the new generation? Because I feel like both guys are new-age boxing superstars.
It's everything because those two have brought a younger audience to the sport, and therefore that's why you see that both of them have a huge following. And with that being said, when you look at this younger generation, they've inspired this whole generation of guys because they see that they can do this, kind of the same things that they do and possibly one day reach this kind of level. So again, it's great, especially for the young fighters and then for the younger generation of these fans.
In my estimation, there is only one Floyd Money Mayweather. He was undefeated, obviously, but I think that it's okay when guys like this are risking their undefeated records on the line. Losses happen in boxing, and I think that no matter what, the winner or the loser, I think both guys still hold quite a bit of value in boxing when it comes to being marketable, and fight fans will want to see them fight again.
Most definitely. So when Ryan gets knocked out on Saturday night,
wow, you're going there, Leonard.
He'll be he done lost to the best. And there's nothing wrong with that. He'll be able to come back from this loss. And you know, my thing, I just don't want either guy to get hurt, you know, where they can't go home and see their family. But it's going to be a terrific fight, though.
So you gave me your prediction on where you think the fight's going to go, but for Gervonta, if he's successful on Saturday, what do you think a win for Tank on a stage like this does for him and his career?
It's everything. So when Tank knocks him out on Saturday night, it automatically elevates him. He's going to become the face of boxing. And again, line these guys up, and he's going to go do what he got to do.
Is the vision now complete with Tank? Because I watched it and literally traveled the world with you guys and seen Tank. Main event in Atlanta, main event in LA, main event in Baltimore, main event in DC. Everywhere he goes, he sells it out. And the UK as well when he fought Liam Walsh. But, you know, is it crazy to think that now here in Las Vegas, it is finally complete? You know, that he's finally headlining in Vegas, pay-per-view card, sold out crowd likely?
Yeah, this is what it's all about. Like I said, this is just the first step of, you know, being the best. You know, and he has a terrific guy in front of him on Saturday night. And again, like you mentioned earlier, both of these guys are going to bring out the best in each other. And I'm just ecstatic.
My final question to you, Tank being in solitude, he has come here to Las Vegas and pretty much isolated himself to really get entrenched for this massive fight that he has against Ryan Garcia on Saturday on Showtime pay-per-view. Have you ever seen Tank this mean and this focused in his entire life?
I've never seen him this focused before. But again, it's that Ryan Garcia warrants that. Because he knows that what Ryan Garcia brings to the table, like I said, he's young, he's an elite fighter, and he's going to push him from the opening bell, and that's why he's had a great camp, and he's really prepared. And again, I just can't wait to Saturday night.
Are younger guys hitting you up as to say, hey, these guys are taking big fights, now I'm willing to risk my undefeated record and roll the dice as well?
Yes, and this sets the tone, because again, it's the timing of this. That's the key, is the timing of these guys coming together. And they're on the big stage, and it gets no bigger than this, being here in Las Vegas.
Leonard, thank you so much for your time. I always appreciate your in-depth analysis. A round of applause to Leonard Ellerbe, ladies and gentlemen.
Because I refuse to not be first.
Do we do enough? Well, I never shut up about it.
It must have been about 16, 17. We nicked their guilt rings. Right, the bouncer's guilt ring.
This is no good for me. That's the reality. If you want the honest truth, and I see it every day,